care insurance.
Sorry, Mike,
So,
I wanted to start that earlier.
no, I get it. That's great. Let me kick my slideshow back in again. Sorry. So, come on.
Sorry about that.
So, two of them had long-term care insurance or over $200,000 in assets. If you don't have that, Medicaid attaches your house now since 2008. So they have a Medicaid attachment that goes on their house. They can't sell their house until they die because that's going to now pay for their care home. So they racked up $120,000, $150,000 worth of care expenses. HUD sells their home and the kids get whatever's left over. That's how it works today. So I'm on a rampage and I really want to share that with you, that a lot of your elderly clients out there are going to lose their homes to the state to pay for their care. You've seen it, I've seen it, it happens. So what they did, major changes were they base the equity they can use out of their home on their age. So at 62, they can use about 40% of their equity. At 95, about 75% of their equity. Okay. They also forced insurance on this home. I call it upside down insurance. It's 2% of the appraisal value. And we can complain all we want about, oh, that's expensive, but it's really not. It's life insurance on their home. So if the house is upside down, when they die, the kids do not have to worry about filing foreclosure or going bankrupt. Okay. It covers an upside down house and it's cheap in comparison to what a real life insurance policy would be. That makes sense? Okay. Same-sex couples can use this. Non-borrowing spouses can use this. That's somebody who's under 62, but who's married to a person who's over 62. So the 80-year-old can have a 44-year-old girlfriend who he's married to, and she can live in the house until she passes away as well. So they've tried to make this loan easier for people to get. And the bottom line is all the banks have been kicked out of it. There's no banks involved. So it's just FHA who's using this loan to help seniors. Okay, they have to be 62 or older. They have to live in an FHA qualified home, so it cannot be a trailer in a trailer park. They have to live in the house as their primary residence at least 6 months and 1 day out of the year, not consecutively. And if they were to take money out of this down the road, it does not affect their Social Security or Medicare benefits because it's tax-free money. Okay. You guys can chime in anytime and stop me with questions, okay? The other key is they keep title to their home. They actually own the home. The bank doesn't. FHA puts a lien against it. We look and qualify these people on basic Social Security and basic income. So that's really important. And the key is never a monthly payment. They don't have to make mortgage payments anymore. They just have to pay their property taxes and homeowners insurance. When they pass away, this is the key for these seniors. They don't understand this. So they haven't been making mortgage payments. When they pass away, their kids inherit the home. It's titled in their children's name or their heirs' names, whoever was titled in the will. It's titled in that person's name. That person has 12 months to sell the house or refinance it. They keep all of the equity that's left over after they pay off FHA. So for 50% of our seniors, this is the only way they're going to be able to transfer that house that's important to them to their children or their heirs or their grandkids. This is the only way to do it because Medicaid will take their house. Okay. Also, we can do a reverse purchase, which is what we're going to talk about today. So that means that they have to have enough income from the home sale, prior home, or enough assets to put 30 to 70% down on their next home. It's a non-recourse loan. Again, that's really important. That's what that insurance is for. They can pay it off at any time. They can sell their home at any time. But if their kids inherit it, they have 12 months to sell it and they get to keep the equity. Ready for an interesting stat? 64% of seniors are downsizing. Out of that 64, 20% of them have plenty of cash, plenty of assets. They've done well in life. They will cash out a house or they'll go to a retirement community where they want to play golf for the rest of their lives, right? Or the other 20% of those 66% don't have enough money, don't have enough equity, and they'll never qualify for the loan because they're stuck, their finances are messed up, right? But out of that 66%, you can help 60% of them with this new loan. 60% of our seniors they're only going to qualify on their Social Security or their pension benefits. That's why they haven't moved. They don't think they can qualify for another loan. Well, they can't. 60% of them cannot qualify for another loan at all, but we can help them with the new HERO loan. Okay. So your target market is just expanded greatly because seniors don't know they can do this, but they can. I'll just give you an example. I was working with one of Melissa's clients, and they still don't believe that they don't have mortgage payments, but they don't. So they were able to sell their home, purchase a new home with a about 58% down payment, and now they live in that home. It's a lot easier for them. They've downsized, a lot less maintenance, and they're very happy because they were able to use this loan. We qualified them on that's $2,600 worth of Social Security income. So FHA is willing to work with these seniors. And when they pass, if their house continues to appreciate, their heirs are going to have about $280,000 worth of equity coming to them. Okay. So this is a big market. Who do you know, or who of your friends have parents who need to downsize? That's the question you need to ask yourself. Who do you know who needs to downsize? And it's usually three things. Somebody died. They can't maintain the house by themselves. They're getting so old, they can't make it up and down stairs anymore, and the house is too big for them. Or three, they need to move closer to their to their kids. So there's three key factors to look at. Ask your friends about this because this is a good option for seniors. Okay. They can buy up to a fourplex with these. They can buy manufactured double wides on their own property, not in a park. Townhouses, PUDs, all that fun stuff. So it's a good program for them. And they get very excited when I'm doing one today where they sold their house for $570. They're buying a house for $495. They're pocketing $120,000 worth of cash. After the sale closes, they're going to keep that in the bank. So they have that extra money they need to live on for the rest of their retirement. Where before, if they would have stayed where they're at, they have a house that's on a sloping lot. He can't go up and down stairs anymore. So it's time for them to move, and their kids want them to move. So those are the type of people we look for, are those who need to move, who aren't very wealthy, but we can qualify them with the new home equity conversion mortgage. Builders love it, and that's where most of our folks go to, is they go to builders who do the smaller homes for them, and they love it. So if you have relationships with builders, this is a great opportunity to bring in people you thought would never qualify. Okay, make sense? New construction is great. In fact, I'll tell you a story. My in-laws came down for their 80th birthdays, and we took them house shopping, and 55 and over communities, and they loved it. Houses here are 500,000. They're about 1,700 to 2,000, probably about 2,500 square feet on average. Pickleball court, a pool, a rec room. They have Bible studies. Just a lot of fun for seniors, and they don't have to mow their own lawn anymore. So they're excited. They're looking into it. We'll see what happens, but it's very encouraging to see that people are starting to build homes for seniors, and the seniors now have an opportunity. Here's just some rough numbers. Okay, numbers. If you're number people like I am, let's say that 65-year-old you found wants to downsize and move closer to their kids. So their house was paid off. They have now $500,000 worth of cash, and they want to downsize because all they have is their IRA. They don't have a lot of other assets, so they're going to purchase a $350,000 home. Their down payment in this example was $206,000. FHA gave them a $140,000 loan, so now they have a $350,000 condo. They have $293,000 in the bank. That's a big deal for seniors, because seniors, it doesn't get less expensive over time. It gets more expensive. And now this will give them cash flow and peace of mind. Okay. Another example, bigger house, 700,000, and they have a $200,000 mortgage. They netted 500, and now they go buy a $500,000 house with 254 down, and the guy banks $246,000. Why is that important? Cash flow. Cash flow is important. How many of your seniors do you know who are still working to pay their mortgage? And they can't afford to continue to work. Their body can't keep up with it. They don't really enjoy it anymore and they're tired. So if you've got those friends, if you know of them, call them, talk to them. I find most of those people are checkers at Fred Meyer or Safeway, and they're still working just to pay their mortgage bills. So this is a great opportunity to say, hey, you know what? We could help you sell your house. You could use your equity to buy a house you'd like to move into that's smaller. And can I help you? So that's how it works. Any questions, guys?
Thank you, Michael. There's some, I have a question as far as the kids that will take over the house or the equity they receive, if there is any. What kind of a, and I know you're not a tax attorney, but is that, are they paying just on the tax or the equity they receive? Or is there a cost basis of?
Cost basis.
So it's based.
And it's a stepped up cost basis too, just like a stock. Okay. So once they pay off the $200,000 loan through FHA, they keep the other, in this example, the other $300,000.
Mm-hmm.
So they keep the equity, that's theirs. They can either go and reinvest it, which is what they should do. If they take it as cash, they have to pay taxes on it.
Okay. As a short-term capital gain?
Long-term.
Long-term. Okay.
So one other thing I want to tell you is I'm a wholesale broker, mortgage broker, which means I have the lowest costs and bring the most value. So just as an example, because there's other people out in the field who do, there's a few guys who do just reverse mortgages like me. So in your field, you charge 5%. After the house takes their 2%, you're left with about 3%. Okay. I'm wholesale, so I start at 3%. I don't have managers and office buildings and stuff like that to pay for, so I'm the most cost effective for your seniors out there. So use me when you find somebody, call me, ask me any questions you have. I have to talk to the client, of course. So if you've got the opportunity, call me. We'll go through the situation you have. And then I'll talk to the client, make sure we can qualify them, and then you can move forward. It's pretty straightforward. And we close regular timeframes.
Thank you, Michael.
Hey, can I add something here? I just jumped on here about 5 minutes ago.
Oh, Mr. Johnson.
Please. Absolutely.
So, Michael, did you talk about the situation that we used you on? Did you guys talk about that one?
Briefly, yes.
Okay. All right. So you know about it then. Well, it's just, we had a senior that one of my great friends got ripped off for $100,000. I don't know if you mentioned that part. They got taken online for $100,000, and they were really looking to sell their house and live in an apartment the rest of their life and just live off of whatever equity they had left in their house. And we used Michael to do a reverse mortgage, and they bought another house from a friend of ours, and we were able to get them into the house and put a couple dollars in their pocket. Plus they're in their 80s and will never have to make a mortgage payment the rest of their life, and still probably leave a pretty good nest egg to their heir. So it's not bad. But anyway, that was a situation we used, and anyway, Michael did a great job doing that too. I appreciate it.
Thank you. They were fun to work with for sure.
Anyway, sorry guys, I just jumped on. Sorry guys.
Good. Well, are you going to be able to stay on? Because I want to bring you on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I think one, I recorded this. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, started a little bit late, but please reach out to Michael. There's just if this is a sphere, this is something that you want to pick as a niche to grow and build your market, working with seniors. It's just a growing market. And for sure, speaking of the lady that I just just wrote an offer. So she's not a senior. I mean, she's in her 50s, but we spent the first part of looking because she wanted a single family or single floor, single ranch type home because of she knew that she was going to have to downsize. She didn't want stairs because she's got already has problem with her knees. Well, it just ended up that she couldn't find what she wanted. She bought a 2-story. 5 to 10 years, she's downsizing. And I just think there's a big market for that. And you can work with your title company, certainly, as far as finding people that are in 2-story homes that have been in them for 20 some years. That's a great market. And instead of marketing to them about downsizing, marketing to them about how they can help transition information can help. And I think reach out to Michael. I think you've got some marketing material that can help with that, right?
I do have a lot. Also, I've created this. I don't know if we can see it, if it's going to let me show it.
No, it doesn't with your background.
So I've got a ClickFunnels site, a QR code that takes the person directly to the explanation of how the home equity conversion mortgage works. 6 minutes and 23 seconds long. Then I give them all of the data off of the HUD website. HUD goes and explains most of this to people. And that's where I send the client to. I said, can you go to HUD.gov and search the word HECM, HECM, and read it, review it, and then call me back with any questions. I want them to go directly to the source. And that makes them more comfortable. I can't sell them anything anyway. They have to qualify through reverse mortgage counseling to make sure they've got the mental capability to understand the loan. So Shalina, I will get you some information. I'll send it to Randy. And the QR code is great because it helps train these people, gives you more training on how it works, because there are a lot of seniors. The clients, the realtors I've worked with, most of them know a lot of seniors, and the churches are full of them, people who need to downsize, but don't think there's a hope. They don't think they have a chance. So this loan gives them a chance, which is awesome. And they can live the rest of their lives without a mortgage payment and more cash in their pocket. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Michael. Okay, we'll reach out to Michael, reach out to me, and I'll certainly help get that information out. I'll send this recording and I'll add it to next week's newsletter. I totally forgotten. If we don't have enough time, or if you guys drop off, we'll bring this up first part of next week's meeting as well. I spoke about there's a national lawsuit going on right now, and who knows where that's going to end up. And I'll let Melissa talk more about this, but Annie Fitzsimmons is doing some, and I think Washington State Real Estate Association has been in the forefront of this and where it's going. But Melissa just took a class from Annie, and I'd like to have Melissa share a little bit about that class and kind of just where you think, Melissa, this is all headed for buyer's agents.
Okay, thank you, Randy. I appreciate that. And Jody's on too, and she was in the class with me. Brooke was also in the class with me. Shalina, did you take that class by chance? You're muted.
Sorry, I considered registering, but then I ended up having people that I needed to show homes to, so I couldn't.
Okay, well,
I really wanted to, though.
The only reason I say that is that if anybody else has input, I really would welcome anyone else's input. And I know that Jody seems to be half my brain lately. So it was, first of all, if you have not taken any course in regards to this change that's coming up, and specifically this is to Washington, but I have to tell you, this is national. So Washington typically starts, we're super proactive here in Washington, and we're lucky that the Washington Realtors are proactive when it comes to changes like this. So we typically are going to make the changes long before something actually happens. There's a couple beautiful things to know about the lawsuit. Usually there's nothing beautiful about a lawsuit, but for us as EXP was not a company named in the lawsuit, and we personally will not be involved in a lawsuit. Okay, so that's important to know. These are coming out of years and years of challenges, but what it comes down to is buyer brokerage relationships. And one of the things that we have, and so if you're not in Washington, please know that your state will follow. Changes are coming for everybody, but specifically to Washington, the changes are coming January 1st, 2024. So the change in buyer brokerage is this. The buyer broker agreement that we've been using for years, that they've encouraged us over and over and over again to use, is now going to be mandatory. It is being updated, and it will be necessary for us to use a buyer broker agreement with any buyer we work with in order to get paid. And it is based on the term of the agreement. In other words, I believe it's 60 days. I think the default is 60 days, but I can't remember specifically. Jody, you can feel free to correct me if you get the information, but it's based on the term of the agreement. You can change that in the buyer broker agreement. You can change that term, but here's the long and short of it. It is a legal and binding contract. If you go into a buyer brokerage agreement, the days of saying, I don't want to work with this person are over. Sorry,
Oh,
but it's true. I see you cringing, Glenn Johnson. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just playing. No, the thing is that we are bound by that. The only unilaterally we cannot get out of that contract. Okay. We have to perform the duties of the contract. If we both as parties decide that we aren't working well together, or it's not a great fit or something, then there is a form, and there will be lots of new forms that are being updated. So the buyer broker forms are all being updated, and you will want to definitely take one of these classes to better understand. The information that you're getting from us is great, but you definitely want to take the class and have a better understanding of what those forms look like. And that's what they'll go over. And there's lots and lots of them happening in the state of Washington right now. EXP just happened to do a great one on Thursday that was online, and Annie Fitzsimmons joined us. So it was actually a really great class. If you can do one of Annie's classes, I always encourage that, because she's so knowledgeable and she's very easy to listen to. And she doesn't like to listen to questions that don't apply. And I love that. It makes the training just keep going. But the other thing is that you will, let me see, I'm looking at my notes. 1 second. Will both sign, they have to be signed right at the time that you start working with them. They cannot be signed, and it's considered reasonable, but they won't let you sign it at the same time of closing. They won't let you sign it at the same time as the offer. You have to be working with them, and you have to be doing the buyer broker agreement in the beginning of the relationship. And so the question is, does each person have to do the buyer broker agreement that works with that person? And the answer is yes, unless it is, for instance, an assistant is under that a broker. So if you have a broker's assistant that's working with a broker, and the relationship is under that broker, then that is fine. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, and there is one other thing that is really important. So hang on 1 second. I just have to take a quick look at my notes. It's about doing, you can sign. So now currently you can sign to do exclusive buyer agency agreement, or you can do non-exclusive buyer agency agreement. And one of the things that she suggested was starting as a non-exclusive until you get to know that person well, because sometimes you know how you meet with someone and in the beginning you're like, oh, they're fantastic. And then right away you realize this person is nuts. And it's really good to potentially start with a but have that conversation. So I've always had a 30-minute conversation with somebody, whether it's at Starbucks or it's online. I have a buyer broker consult. I just meet with them. You need to make sure that that person is a good fit for you, especially if they're coming in as a referral or that type of thing. You sit down with them, you tell it's important you're interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you. You really want to know that. If you are newer to real estate, please know that you have every right to interview your clients, because they're not all people you want to work with. And so you have that 30-minute conversation. If after that 30-minute conversation, you feel 100% comfortable that you can move forward in an exclusive agency relationship, then go for it. But otherwise, you have every right to do a non-exclusive buyer agency relationship, and then you can change to exclusive at any point. Okay. So that means if you're jiving and you're getting everything in order, then definitely you can change that. And it means that nobody else can work with them. But is there risk in this? Yeah, it's changing. It's definitely a changing time and a changing market. But what it comes down to are those conversations that you have early on, the honest, open communication, and the expectations on both sides. That's the very best way to start it, because that's going to put you in a position where you're going to know if an exclusive relationship, they did make it sound like it was a marriage and dating, so they actually said that, but you'll know whether or not you're comfortable moving into that. So that's, Jody, am I forgetting anything? Those are the big rocks, but it was very well worth the 3.5 hours of credit.
No, I think you touched on it pretty well. The only thing I was thinking was the emphasis that Annie made was about with the non-exclusive agreement.
Mhm.
Remember, she was saying something to the effect of like, we could be in this non-exclusive agreement, show the house, but if the buyer or that person you were working with ends up signing with an exclusive agreement with somebody else and they write the offer,
Yeah,
you won't have any
recourse.
Any recourse. There's no procurement clause at all, even though you showed the house to them and it's because you had that non-exclusive agreement. So I think overall it sounds like protection